A very good afternoon to you at 4 on Friday, the 25th, I think it is, of June. Hope you've had a good week. We've had a good one here at Wellington, and it's been a fantastic day on a number of levels, but particularly, I have to say, not everybody's cup of tea. Might leave somebody a bit cold, but I've spent 5 hours with my colleagues on SLT, minus Mrs. Shelley, who's still on mat leave, Mr. Holt, who's laid up with his bad back at home, recovering well, I believe. But the remaining 6 of us met to review our school self-evaluation form, which is a document framed in the Ofsted criteria, the various areas there, and gets us to review ourselves and where we stand currently. And I have to say, before I mention that further, I think SLT, the leadership team here, the other 7 of my colleagues, is probably a group I don't praise sufficiently and often enough, or publicly enough. But they really are superb and expert in their own area of responsibility, and make my job incredibly easy having people around you who work to that calibre and to that extent. So a big thank you to SLT. But today, reviewing all aspects of school life under that Ofsted framework, and it really was a very meaningful, very fruitful, very frank and open discussion. And when we spent the last 18 months pretty much focusing on the day-to-day operational stuff, getting by, surviving from day to day during the pandemic, it's so refreshing to spend 5 hours. I said nobody's cup of tea necessarily, but we're looking into the future for our strategy and vision from September onwards. We all share that with governors, with other staff, and that will lead into our school improvement plan, departmental development plans, and set the tone for the next 12 months and beyond. So really exciting times. So watch this space for what comes out of that, but it really has been a fabulous day. So thank you to my colleagues on SLT. You're a smashing bunch, I have to say. Other good news today, or maybe yesterday, or was it this morning, lose track, we've had a duck residing in our garden in the middle of the site there by the sixth form area in the pond, and she's been sat on a number of eggs at recent times. They hatched last night or this morning. I've got 8 ducklings now waddling along in the school garden area. Mr. Crawley, our school estates manager, has contacted the RSPCA, and they will be taken away to one of their compounds for safekeeping in the future. They are at risk, of course, from the likes of those pesky magpies, but real attraction for our young people seeing the duck and her little offspring waddling around the garden there. So a great bit of news in addition to the to Wellington family, even for a relatively short space of time. What else this week? Delighted on Monday, Tuesday, thanks to Mrs. Stevens and Mr. Cropper, Mrs. Wilson, Mrs. Gray, Miss Gray, the sixth form team, for welcoming our potential New Year 12s back. Of course, pending results in August time, but we had about 106 of our Year 11s who've just, in theory, left us temporarily in for a bit of a taster session, taster days on Monday and Tuesday. It was great to see them, caught up with a few during the 2 days, and they did some taster lessons, a more generic look at what life in the sixth form will be about to prepare them for that, should it be the case in September. So great to see you all. The feedback was excellent from staff and students alike, and again, another thing to look ahead to that degree of normality and moving on in September. So thank you, Year 11s, and now enjoy the rest of your summer, and fingers crossed for results days for Year 11s on the 12th of August. Okay, thank you to Mr. Scott, who led on this, but also the RE and history teachers, REP and history. We are part of a scheme by the Robert Kennedy Foundation, I mentioned before, called Speaking Truth to Power. Initially for our Year 7s, they had 4 hours of input on Wednesday from the teachers I mentioned around that. Looking at movements for change, historical change in society, with Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, and people of that nature around gender equality, gay rights, the civil rights movement in the States, all those aspects, suffragette movement in the UK, and more besides. Look in the history of activism and change making, and that will in the future move towards more localised view of that, and then obviously what people can do moving forward to make a difference. One of our mantras, of course. So the Year 7 students enjoyed that. I think the staff were blown away by the knowledge and the levels of maturity and the confidence in speaking and debating from our young people, and they have their second day on that on next Wednesday. and that will continue into year 8 and to year 9 and be repeated moving forward. So that's a great day on Wednesday, or great morning. So thank you to Mr. Scott and his team for leading on that. Watch this space. I'm sure the year 7 parents have heard all about it from their offspring when they got home on Wednesday. Okay, what else we got? Some items in the bulletin there about music from Mrs. Morehouse, some recordings, I think, so listen to those. Good luck to all the young people who are taking part in the ABRSM exams. I think, is it this weekend or next week possibly? And there's lots of other stuff there from the English department, from Miss Tedford, I recall, and from Miss Spencer. Around poetry in year 8, so all that to have a glance at. Oh, COVID wise, yeah, I think most of the year 10s who are isolating come back on Monday. There are a few more during the course of the week, a knock-on effect of that, but we're good to have them back mainly next week and get back to business. Finally, after lots of prevarication and procrastination, the transition days of year 6 coming into year 7 on July the 8th have been cancelled. That was sensible. It's taken a while to get there. Been around the houses several times, and I've had so many meetings with fellow heads, primary and secondary, and with public health people this week. But it's the right thing to do. We know scientifically, medically, the risk to young people is minimal. But the point was that by young people coming into our secondary schools, that would jeopardise significantly how year 6 could run. At the end, people could be ruled out of residential trips, of school plays and discos and final assemblies and sports days. And we concluded that although valuable to secondary schools to have an induction day, transition day, it's that sort of risk versus reward, isn't it? And quite frankly, the conclusion was that it wasn't worth taking the risk because of the jeopardy that it put the end of year 6 in. Okay, so that was the right thing, and we'll do other things like last year, because our current year 7 settled remarkably well in September without a transition day in July, but lots of virtual stuff. Postcards have gone out, messages from teachers, there'll be messages from form tutors moving forward, and we'll get them in for some mini tours, etc. And of course, we'll do something more formal in September, if not before. So if you are a year 6 parent, or parent of a year 6, should I say, please watch this space, and we'll be in touch with our plans over the next few days, okay, and meeting with colleagues next week to finalise those plans. Okay, no, good. Next week, what we got on? Can't wait for the year 7 pantomime. Mrs. Richardson team have been working hard with our year 7 thespians and performers. They'll be delivering 3 performances, I think it is, to the year 7s with a couple of tutor groups at a time. Unfortunately, we're planned on bringing their parents in, but we can't do that now. But I'm sure there'll be a video recording which you can enjoy henceforth. So that's next Thursday, I think. We've got Silver D.V. Doing 3 days of canoeing and 2 nights of camping in the middle of the week with Grip Adventure. We've got next Friday and Saturday 120 year 9s doing the bronze D.V. practice walk on Friday and the assess walk on Saturday. Thank you in advance to all the staff taking part in supporting that. But yeah, going to be a busy week, and as I say, looking at the bulletin, which didn't happen for a number of months, it's looking like a little bit busier each week, and we're starting to put the calendar together for 2021-22, and populating that with school trips and events and all those other things like assessments as well. So yeah, might not sound it, a bit tired, but buzzing today after probably the most significant day where we've looked into the future more than any time over the last 16, 17 months, and that's got to be a damn good thing. Okay, I normally cycle in Tuesday, Thursday. I've stuck to that, but yesterday I couldn't cycle, so I'm cycling today. So on a Friday evening, it's going to be a bit of a chore, but I'll get home and reward myself once I do get home in some liquid fashion. So that will be not too far in the next half hour or so, no doubt, to get home early on a Friday. But enjoy your weekends. Good sporting weekend, I have to say. Warm game for the British and Irish Lions against Japan. Edinburgh tomorrow. Wales are playing in the knockout last 16 of the Euros. It's a Premiership rugby final. Warrington won last night. They beat last night Lee with our B team, having hammered St Helens 6-2 last Thursday. So yeah, all's looking good on the sporting front. England won the 2020. against Sri Lanka last night, the 3-match series, 2-0 already. So all good on the sporting front. Have a great weekend, stay safe. We can't deny that this variant is more transmissible. We found that ourselves, so please take precautions, keep testing. I'm not going to nag you about that again, but stay safe, stay good, and I'll speak to you next Friday, no doubt. Cheers, goats. Bye-bye.